When troubles arise regarding a well-known and generally liked VTuber, it goes without saying that everyone active in the scene will hear about it. This can lead to unforeseen consequences where fans and onlookers alike will join in on the discussion whether to try quell the chaos or continue to sow it, even unintentionally. When the VTuber in question tries to intervene, depending on how they responded, it can lead to a quick end or a nasty, prolonged dumpster fire, especially on X, formerly known as Twitter. All of this occurred recently for the VTuber of today's video, Zentreya, an XVShoujo member simply because she dared to debut a military outfit. Hi everyone, my name is Saphera Noma, but you can call me Saf. For many of you, this will be the first time you've seen me use this model on this channel, and this will be my main model going forward. I'm still the same Saf as all the other times in this channel, so try not to freak out too much, okay? Anyway, let's get on with it. On November 26, 2025, Zentreya would debut her new outfit as General Zentreya. To most people, her outfit looks like a fantasy-esque style of a military outfit reminiscent of a villainous character, one that echoes similarities often found in anime-style media such as Esdeath from Akame ga Kill and Bismarck from Azure Lane. To the oldest and most die-hard fans of Zentreya, they will recognize her new military outfit to be a nice nod to her 2018 to 2019 avatar back during her VR chat days, where she was the leader and founder of the ALA or Anti-Lewd Army. But to some others, the sight of Zentreya's black and red color scheme along with a peaked cap with an emblem at the center made them terribly uncomfortable. In today's political landscape, where many are concerned about the rise of fascism, and with VTubers sort of having an inhospitable community at times depending on who you're watching or exposed to, it unfortunately leads to a sort of ongoing paranoia where some people think that it's only a matter of time before their beloved VTuber turns out to be a nasty pro-fascist in disguise. Because to these people, Zentreya's outfit reminds them of, well, a Nazi's outfit. Now, I want to quickly interject with my own opinion on Zentreya's outfit before we delve into the rest of the situation, since I want to be very clear on the record when I say this. I do not think Zentreya's outfit is a Nazi uniform nor related to Nazis. I do not think Zentreya is a Nazi. Okay? We got that? Alright. So now, if you happen to see any comments that falsely accuse me of saying that, you have every right to clown on them because it's obvious they didn't watch the video. Alright, let's continue. The beginnings of an oncoming storm began the day after on November 27th, when it came to light that there actually used to be an unmarked red armband in Zentreya's initial design of the new outfit. A small VTuber decided to comment on it, got blocked by Zentreya, and the design artist removed it the same day and said, "Don't mind the repost, fix something." To which the reply said, "Great, so when are we talking about the significance of the armband you removed? And thank you for removing it, but I really think you should address this directly given the implications and not just try to cover it up." Which both comments seem to assume the artist had ill intentions in the first place. The artist then replies with, "Hello, my comment here is not a reflection of anyone I have worked with, but of my own opinion. My initial thought process was that an armband is something that is commonly seen in fantasy tactical gacha games such as Arknights, and is seen in some older anime such as The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. It has never extended beyond that. I had then removed it because I was informed that there may be associations towards other entities, which had never been my intent." And from later in the replies, it seems like the artist and the person who originally called it out in the first place sort of talked things out amicably and all seemed well. But that was on Twitter. Blue Sky had a very different reaction to the outfit. Having obtained the knowledge of the red armband on the original design, many were shocked that Zentreya, given her large platform, would drop this outfit during a shaky political time, doubting her credibility when it came to light that she blocked people over this. Some shared their gripes, but for the most part, people were upset that her outfit gave off fascist aesthetics or straight up quote Nazi shit, especially when one of her loading screens was a picture of her at the center marching with an army of minions carrying banners. There was ongoing discussion on Blue Sky, trying to discover the truth of the origin of this outfit inspiration because, as mentioned earlier, her new military outfit sort of calls back to a model she had back in her VR chat days. This can be seen and verified with a video of another VR chatter interacting briefly with Zentreya, through which you can see that long red-haired, black cap and black outfit with a white fur lining, as well as a red armband. While Blue Sky and most likely some small spheres on Twitter were discussing things, eventually it made it to Zentreya, live on stream, that some people were concerned about her outfit design and trying to quote, cancel her. Zentreya proceeds to crash out on stream with language that some might find uncomfortable.
Apparently people are being super fucking woke right now, so I have to make a fucking statement all of a sudden here. So apparently people are calling me out to saying I'm wearing a Nazi uniform. People are calling me a Nazi for my outfit. Of course, woke ideology has it where every snowflake has to get hurt by something. Or they have to think, this uniform automatically makes you a fascist or a Nazi. You know what? I don't care what the fuck you think. I'm just calling you out. Stop being little fucking snowflakes. It's a fucking outfit. I'm not wearing a fucking Nazi uniform. And I'm not wearing the fucking armband. So get the dick out of your mouth and fuck off. I'm not gonna get cancelled because you're fucking stupid.
Some of her viewers also were taken aback during this, and one even commented on her word usage via TTS, to which Zentreya doubled down during the moment.
Could have worded that so much better. Maybe don't call people snowflakes or use woke like that next time.
I'm not,
but
no,
holy shit.
Fuck no. No, I'm gonna call it what it is. Why are we jumping on something that is not what it is? That is a snowflake moment. If somebody's wearing an actual Nazi band or whatever, yeah. Eel that out, I don't care, yes. But you can't jump on somebody who's literally has a military uniform, and they even corrected the problem beforehand. They tried to make the issue before even asking the questions. They just jumped down your throats. It is exhausting having to just tiptoe around things, dude.
However, a few minutes later, she then says the following.
Maybe I used the wrong term and I apologize for that during my statements. If I did say something that came off as offensive, such as the word woke, my bad. But the snowflake part will still stand. We can't just go throwing accusations out without even asking a question, man.
Unfortunately for Zentreya, however, the clip that started circulating around Blue Sky and Twitter were the very first one, where she had her initial outrage calling people super woke and how they were little fucking snowflakes. This led to a lot of concerns being made on both platforms because those words and phrases are often used by those that especially dislike queer and trans folk and their quote woke ideologies. On Twitter, some users vented out their concerns and disappointment. One such user said, Zentreya outing herself as a low-key grifter and blaming woke for her choice of outfit and calling concerned fans snowflakes was not on my 2025 bucket list. I have genuinely never been so incredibly disappointed in something. Is there a single decent person at the top? To which Zentreya, for the first time that I've seen in recent memory, actually replied with, I think not wanting to be labeled a Nazi immediately out of the gate would get anyone heated. I've already put in my apology about how I went about talking the other day today, but jumping on board the hate train without even stopping and questioning it shows who you really are. This discussion continued further with, Zen, I'm not jumping on a hate train. I've always looked up to you, but it's hard not to be hurt by this, and if you want to lump me in with other people you've called snowflakes, then I can't stop you, but the words you used specifically were incredibly hurtful to a lot of people. I do understand wanting to defend yourself. You have every right to. I've seen it happen time and time again with larger creators. The second they start talking like it's downhill from there, and I just don't want to see that happen again with another person lots of people admire and look up to. If you apologized for it, I genuinely have no issue. But I hadn't seen one at the time of posting and like many others genuinely sad about what had been said. Zen replies with, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you genuinely sound sincere, and if there is anyone telling you horrible things, they are masking being in my community and using a troll account, and I don't condone them. If I made a tweet or something, it's just going to make people want more and more when I've said what I said, where I said it previously in front of everyone on stream to fix that, and I hope you go and see my sincerity and my words. I don't condone anything but love. The user replies, you're fine, it's Twitter unfortunately at your size, it's kinda hard to police who replies once you do, no stress. I am really sorry though, had no idea you had already apologized. I don't think you're a bad person for clarification. You've done a lot for VTubing, I'd be an asshole to just have a go at you like that. Was just upset, but yeah. and they proceed to apologize again and take down the post. Zen says, I appreciate your kindness and able to make your own decisions. It's more important now than ever to look at the big picture more than people spreading lies and pushing an agenda of hate. I get it too. We live in a scary time. For this moment, just only read my words. Trust in me when I say that I have only ever spread love, and when I get mad, I turn the brain off and I'm acting out of frustration. I'm sorry if my words did hurt you, and to anyone, know that my community has always accepted so many loving people who extend that to others, you as well, I am sure. Even when I typed a response, I wasn't angry. It hurt me just as it felt I hurt you. Being human means we try our best to understand someone's situation from all sides, and I appreciate you seeing mine. Thank you. And it seems like both Zentreya and this user made up amicably. The user in question made a new post to announce their genuine apology and deletion of the original post and wanted to move on. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't quite work that way, and on November 30th, people were trying to accuse this user of calling her a Nazi, which never happened, and on December 1st, it was still happening as this user had to make another post about it to try and knock some sense into people. But over on Blue Sky, things were a lot more critical. After the clip of Zentreya calling people woke and snowflakes went around in that scene, a particularly vocal user made a blog post that started off as, "Would you look at that? Another big VTuber turns out to be a Nazi." It is an opinionated blog which scrutinizes Zentreya's outfit and behavior in the past and how it all can relate to Nazis and fascism. For instance, for the VR chat segment, they mentioned that Nazis disliked expression of queer sexualities because it was too lewd, and therefore Zentreya being the leader of an anti-lewd army is, quote, "doesn't seem like a good look, whether it's a joke or not, because not only is it puritanical, but also has some association with Nazism, whether it was intended or not." Overall, it sure takes an angle and makes a lot of assumptions about Zentreya and her links to fascism over a few coincidences. And while usually I'd say if it quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, then it's probably a duck, I just don't think a few tenuous years-old bits hold up for Zentreya, her general behavior, and her outfit. What Zentreya's word usage does potentially indicate is that she may be around questionable social spheres on the internet, and this is a thought many also had and vocalized their concerns on social media. They genuinely think it's like a dog whistle to saying, "Hey, I'm actually a Nazi, but teehee, I'm not admitting I'm a Nazi, but I sure sound like the other proud neo-Nazis you see online." And you want my personal take on all this? I do not believe Zentreya is a Nazi on the basis of her saying these phrases out of pocket one time in recent memory compared to the years of unproblematic content that I'm aware of. My reasoning for why she said these phrases in a moment of emotional upset is much more simple and is less assuming malintent with her words. First off, I do agree that the word usage probably exposes a bit of what she's exposed to most often to online, since this is what she's defaulted to when angry. However, this doesn't necessarily mean she's an active participant in far-right neo-Nazi spaces on purpose. If you're a casual person on the internet who wants to be apolitical besides the bare minimum of Nazi equal bad, I'm gonna be real. These people aren't going to do deep research into why certain words and phrases get used so often and why it could potentially be offensive and alarming to use. All an apolitical person knows and often sees is that sometimes someone says something and then a bunch of people dogpile on that person going, "You're so fucking woke," and "Ew, you're throwing a tantrum because you're a snowflake," and all sorts of things, probably the R slur mixed in there too. And let's be real. Normies and apolitical people are more likely to run into a vocal right-winger on the average, especially on Elon Musk's Twitter that promotes such vitriol. Or they'll run into other apolitical people who just don't talk about any of this in the first place because, you know, apolitical. It's really hard to accidentally run into a clearly progressive person and know they're progressive until you're already like pretty deep in their content or heard about it from other progressives and you're actively looking for it, you know? As for a personal anecdote, I remember when I had a small anti-SJW phase back in my Tumblr girly days back in high school. I remember what it was like to be relatively politically adverse, and sometimes I saw some crazy ass takes from some super vocal quote SJWs or social justice warriors at the time that made me raise my eyebrow at their validity and their subsequent crash outs. Not all SJW stuff was automatically bad to me, however, as I learned a lot during my time on Tumblr from that side, including queer stuff that resonated with me. But it was more the extreme takes that I found too much at times, and I often heard the phrase "you snowflake" and "woke" being used as insults against these kinds of people. And at the time, being a teenager of course, I did use it in passing as well because I just didn't know any better. Of course, that was in high school. I'm much older now, which supposedly surprises a bunch of people anytime they hear how old I actually am, but regardless, I only know better now because I've taken the time to learn about the space and some politics. I didn't really want to learn politics, by the way, but it's kind of hard to avoid it when you're a queer person of color woman in Trump's America, where I'm pretty much at a lot of things his administration hates and is actively trying to disrupt, so yeah. But anyway, I believe Zentreya is of a similar caliber in that since she doesn't know any better, and since it's very easy to run into the more hateful kinds of stuff on the internet, thus it's easy to accidentally regurgitate it thinking it's not quote bad until someone points it out. This suspicion of mine is proven when Zentreya makes a more formal apology since her initial one on the same day of her crash out never got posted.
I did get heated. I did. I will apologize for that. I'm sorry. Also want to make this clear. I'm on no political side. I don't agree with Nazism. I will definitely say I am against it. Fuck Nazis. I used the wrong terminology the other day. I did. And I apologize for that. Everybody is welcomed into the community. There is no political stance. I don't have enough info on anything nowadays. I am not educated enough on politics to make any calls. All I can do is just watch and look at what's going on and just figure out what's happening. I don't fuck with Nazis. I hate Nazis. I've literally played Wolfenstein. I've played Sniper Elite. I've played so many games where I beat the shit out of them.
And it's basically what I thought, in that Zen chooses to remain apolitical, which is totally fine, by the way, not saying anyone has to get political, because I get it, politics is cringe. And also that she doesn't like Nazis or Nazism, which is a relief. There are some people that have criticized this on social media, going, she says she's apolitical, but then is anti-fascist. You can't be apolitical and anti-fascist at the same time. But like, while I guess that's technically true, I also just get it in the sense of Zen knows Nazis are bad, but Zen doesn't want to get too deep into politics, which is valid. Unfortunately, it takes a bit for news like this to get around social media, and some people wanted to stay hating regardless. On November 30th, Zen tweets this. "This is so stupid, exhausted emoji," to which some interesting people decided to comment in support of Zen, one being literal Nazi Miku. But, you know, sure. But Zentreya streamed it going, "Moving on, man, cause ain't worth my energy," and then tweeted later, "It was a good day, thank you." At that, I thought the situation was done and over with, and naturally people who wanted to continue debating would, but ultimately Zentreya seemed to have said her piece and was over it, which is good. On December 1st, Zentreya started her Make-A-Wish Jingle Jam charity stream, and hopefully that would be the conclusion to this outfit debacle, as it seemed like people were finally moving on. But later, on December 1st, Zentreya commented to someone making a tweet about her response saying, "So you don't do any research and hop onto the train without so much as looking at the apology, so you use this as an excuse to make a tweet to send more hate to me, gain some attention, instead of finding the actual resolution. You never watched me then, and the fact your instant reaction tells me you're not a part of my community. Fuck off." To which the user did delete their initial retweet, but responds, "Send more hate? I'm literally just reacting to your response? Like, I'm sorry about the drama you got, but if it matters to you that much, I can just delete it." This unfortunately hints at the idea that Zentreya might still be needled by the outfit debacle, and definitely still cares intensely about her reputation on social media. This is further confirmed after a post blew up from a user who decided to write critically but educationally on Zentreya's outfit choice from a designer point of view on December 3rd. The post reads as, "So I wanted to expand on this. I'm a professional costume designer and maker, and I've wanted to speak on this since the design dropped, but wasn't really sure how until now. The main point I want to make is, even if your intention is not related to Nazi symbolism, that specific style of hat, the peak of the cap, the shape of the visor, the placement of the emblems, and uniform was purpose designed for the SS, and it is going to invoke certain imagery whether you want it to or not. Yes, we see these designs a lot in anime. This is because Japan has long held a close relationship with Germany, over 120 years. You do the math. There is a huge problem with anime's fixation on this aesthetic too. And yes, I know a lot of people find this particular design fashionable, but that too was on purpose. Hugo Boss designed those uniforms and was an active member of the Nazi Party, though it was Karl de Bitch who designed the all-black version. They were meant to be fashionable, striking, and attractive. That's how propaganda works. It's meant to draw you in. Humans function on how we draw associations, and there is no way to separate those design elements from the source, especially when they are so closely tied to such a horrific event. I really do urge you to look into the history of these garments and understand why. Even though you may mean no harm, these are not good design choices and people will associate you with the wrong thing. It's burned into us through history, and you can't separate those symbols even if you have different ideas for them. The bottom line is, you can't separate the design from its history, not matter how much you may want to. It doesn't make you a bad person or evil for liking the style, but you have to approach design with intelligence, research, and understanding that every design choice is intentional and conveys meaning. And maybe the specific style of uniform is better off left unused. I should finish by saying I enjoy Zentreya. I think she's a great streamer and an incredibly lovely and caring individual. Honestly, a beacon in our community for what she has done for VTubing. Everyone makes mistakes. We don't always make the best choices, but this doesn't make her a monster for choosing the design elements she did. I do, however, wish she would have researched the look more before committing to it, and I do believe it is irresponsible to flaunt that imagery while disregarding its origins just because you like the style. Please take a look at the following thread as well. It does a great job of outlining everything from a historical standpoint. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. This post caused Zentreya to crash out on social media on December 3rd. She replies to the post, "I didn't know Nazis showed off their boobs or had hip-lengthened skirts or had a cape with fur. The common German Nazi World War II attire was gray, black being used by the SS with large overcoats and full-bodied clothing. No chains or gems on it. I could tell you my entire conversation with my artist where nothing was based off the Germans' aesthetics, and to go blindly saying I made a draft from their suits is just as irresponsible and also damaging to me. Aside from that note, many militaries have also had black-issued military clothing throughout history. In fact, the SS also wore white as well. So are we going to punish VTubers who are wearing white uniforms or gray uniforms? Militaries all around the world still use black, white, navy, gray. Labeling me as such or having inspiration or promoting is incredibly reaching and helpful, unbelievably disrespectful to myself and the people who worked hard on the fictional Live 2D model." People in the replies tried to defend the initial spirit of the post and tried rationalizing with Zen, who was just not having any of it. She responded with, "She just made the comparisons to Nazis in my outfit, so that's not calling me a Nazi? Praise goes out the window when I'm being compared / supposedly promoting Nazis in uniforms and ideals, LMAO. Shut the F up. I'm so sorry I don't like being compared to a Nazis or their ideals." More people try to be calm about it, though admittedly not all, but Zentreya was adamant on not wanting to be compared to a Nazi or how her outfit relates to Nazis at all. This soon escalates into her calling people effing idiots and ha 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 F you dude and go F yourself, and overall acting very emotionally out on social media, which again, in Elon Musk's social media, this crash out is like bleeding out and attracting sharks. It does no good in the long scheme of things. Zentreya later tweets out that day, "I'm done. I'm so tired. I just wanted to have an awesome end of the year. I've been through so much and you kicked me when I was about to get back up. I try to fix things. I will go back and see what can be changed or if I scrap the entire model. It's not worth losing friends." Asterisk. I wasn't even losing any friends. Everyone was happy with me because they know me, but them getting harassed as well to where they are tired too, as well as many other people, this is just tiring, man. I'm tired. I personally find this a bit misleading because her initial tweet said it's not worth losing friends, which seems to insinuate she's lost a friend or so from this debacle. But she says in the second part, I wasn't even losing any friends. but them getting harassed to where they are tired too is the more honest part. And I can understand that aspect of things. It's not fun being on the receiving end of any drama, whether you're in the hot seat or associated with the one in the hot seat. But Zentreya's rampage on Twitter didn't end there. There was still more, she said, such as, "If you did research since the beginning, you would have seen I had a very calm conversation where we de-escalated, and I even made it very clear that people throwing or doing crazy things were not part of my community. I've made very valid moments in my time as a content creator where people know what community I foster. Furthermore, forgive me for replying to posts that are using me as an example for Nazism/fascism. Each person I have responded to has had moments where they could have used actual VTuber Nazis instead of me, but why me specifically at this moment? I've genuinely seen actual Nazis. I have every right to defend myself from these allegations. I don't think any right-minded individual would want to sit there and let people make comparisons with Nazis and their character." And another with, "Then for the love of God, call those people out. I don't stand for it. Why are you lumping me in with random people on the internet? I get I may not saying things exactly, but for God's sake, I'm human and I get pissed and I get mad too. If it was just, oh, Zentreya sucks, I don't give a shit. I see that every single day. But when I get called a Nazi man, when I'm put out on display as an example instead of actual Nazi VTubers, that's in front of thousands of people who, let's be super honest, some haven't seen me. And you know what that would imply? Come on, I'm gonna get mad and I stand with pride being who I am, that I'm not one and I love fostering a community for nothing but love. I'm genuinely here not with hate or anger, because I know you followed me before. My responses have been a bit harsh just because I am trying my best to not say just fuck it all and say fuck everything. I wish, oh God, do I wish people would see me as human and not big content creator only so I can say whatever about them. And see, I have valid feelings too. And I get you and all others have feelings, but holy shit, the situation has gotten out of control and I wish everyone could just sit down and have an effing drink and be cool. And I'm sorry about your childhood. I'm not even gonna gloss over that. I do read. I'm sorry for that." Unfortunately, I don't have the originals of these replies, so it's sort of lost on me, but you can tell her frustration from these replies alone. Zen makes another tweet going, "God, how I wish we could all forget the world. Stop fighting just for an effing moment. All have a drink and remember that we're all human living in this planet for only so effing long." And in reply to somebody, "You are one of the reasons why this is still going on, you effing shithead, when I already said the model's being changed or scrapped. Or are you incapable of reading anything above a first grade level, you illiterate F? You effing dumb shit. There's literally an effing thread on the artist where we got inspiration from anime. And I'm not panicking, I'm effing pissed. Dipshits like you can't comprehend basic situational awareness when I address the situation, so you feed off of it, hoping to grasp at anything. My community, when I've already made a statement regarding this multiple times, and you're the one insisting this effing conversation. And I will still be here raising thousands when you're scrounging away at your desk trying to farm drama for one like. And of course, I have to make this clear, thousands for charity, cause my ass is genuinely flabbergasted by your dumb ass." And after enough arguing, one of her friends steps in to say, "Hey Zen, I might be stepping out of my own lane by trying to interject like this, but maybe it's a good time to step back and take a break for your own sake. I sent you a DM on Discord. It's not worth your effort to keep arguing with people that aren't going to see eye to eye with you no matter how hard you try. Maybe we can get some friends together and watch a movie, so you can step away for a while and get your mind off things." And to this, Zen says, "I'm sorry, May. I'm so effing sorry you're seeing me like this. I'm just so tired. I just wanted to do charity shit and have fun. I'm sorry. I'll hop off for a bit." And I do genuinely think that stepping back from social media is a good idea for Zentreya. It was clear she was getting very heated and emotional on Twitter, and being heated like that only adds more to the fire, not douse it. This is for one simple reason. Those looking to add to the flames to attack the quote woke and quote snowflakes, and those pretending to be Zentreya watchers decided to intervene and make everything into one hot mess. On various posts of Zentreya's, you can see familiar notorious names such as Kersha Verstal, Rev Says Desu, Ribigaki the Nazi French rap VTuber, and more. Lots of people were trying to comfort Zentreya by saying ignore these weirdos, calling people the R word under her comments. weirdos or tourists, and of course, woke and snowflakes and more. These are just a few snippets out of literally hundreds of comments during this time, both on Zen's post and on people who just commented about the Zen post. It was more hostile towards those that were only criticizing Zen but never called her a Nazi, such as the user who made the design analysis post. That person, by the way, had people try to dox and distribute revenge corn of her, as well as the obvious threats and harassment and all sorts of vile things. Here are just a few snippets that I will not be reading for obvious reasons, but they are hateful, bigoted, and spiteful. I'm not saying that there weren't some people on the supposed quote woke side that said some awful things to Zen. One called Zen as playing the victim, and others were trying to tell her to change the outfit as if that's an easy and not expensive fix. Not to mention the outfit is genuinely not a Nazi outfit in the first place, so it's just dumb overall. But to me, it's very clear one side is more vitriolic than the other on Twitter. Now, I have to clarify, I do not think Twitter is a good indicator of someone's true fan base and community. Twitter is, after all, a cesspool. If you've been on it, you'll probably find a lot of blue checkmark rage bait accounts where all they do is just troll and say the most outlandish dumb things just to get a paycheck, because it was recently revealed most of these accounts reside in third world countries because, well, rage baiting on Twitter quite literally pays their livelihood. So no, I do not think these people on this social media platform are good indicators of Zentreya's actual fan base. A good indicator to me is the people who actively watch and consume her content, such as on streams and how they react and are when she streams. But big blow-ups like this often attract all sorts of people who just want to hawk and rubberneck at the ongoing drama because, well, they can. So what actually happened at the conclusion of this? Well, after Zentreya told her friend May that she would take her advice and log off Twitter, it turns out, no, she didn't really quite do that. See, she posted here at 5:35 p.m. my time. I made a tweet that, admittedly, was a subtweet on the whole situation, but also general advice for any creator of her standing, where I basically said, the best thing to do as a big content creator who doesn't normally get into drama is just let it pass. She already made her statements a few times on stream, and whatever she ranted about on Twitter, just let that hang and go relax and de-stress. Twitter drama isn't worth the mental strain. I posted that at 6:03 p.m., edited it around 6:46 p.m., and at the time I was definitely not blocked. I did my stream for a few hours, went back on Twitter, and oh, would you look at that? Zentreya, Miss I'll hop off, didn't hop off long enough, it seems. Now, to clarify, I do not hate Zen for blocking me. I just thought it was silly, because I really think my take was lukewarm at best, though the Twitter hornets were trying to tell me I was victim blaming her into silence, which, that's a reach if I've ever seen one. The best thing she could have done instead of crashing out on Twitter is make a singular, well thought out statement and leave it at that. Not respond individually to other people's tweets and inadvertently sick her Twitter audience on them. That's simply quite it. But thankfully, Zentreya did make that final, last statement on December 5th, 2025. She said this, starting off this by saying, I believe it's time to move forward. I understand at times where I got heated. Most of it was coming from me defending myself from labels or comparisons. It felt like that to me. I have seen an article and others that have labeled me as such, which had put me on the defensive immediately, as it would anyone I would imagine, especially it being your brand being attacked. Did I go about it properly? No. I wear my emotions on my sleeve a lot, and it tends to get me in trouble. That's what I am known most for being in trouble with, just being emotional. I think at the end of this issue spiraled way too out of control for something that could have been aimed at actual Nazis. I was not comfortable with being compared or even put in the same sentence. I understand comparisons and education, but why was this not used on actual ones in our community? I do not align with that ideology. Any art or such that has been seen was artists' ideas that were taken from anime such as Azure Lane or Concole. Nothing was taken from inspiration from actual World War II clothing, and I feel good knowing that, and as such I will continue to use it. If I at some point want to adjust it, I will. Perhaps navy blue or all red. But I understand where you are coming from. I saw both sides lashing out, crazy words being flung around. It's heartbreaking to me. Many things were said by both sides, which I hope we can move past. And that with others who joined into the community from this, I can show what kindness and love and compassion can do for ourselves. I get the anger, some of which came from outside of my community and even hit my Gecko's community name. And for that, I am sorry to you Geckos of affected. To both sides, some of whom have demanded I do not apologize, I can't do that because I am an empathetic person who just wants people to not be hurt, regardless of if it hurts me in the process. So you can hurl your insults at me, degrade me for showing this weakness, but I would rather be hated for being too kind than be hated for being too heartless. I care about all of you, whether you hate me or not on my stance. I would rather you take it out on me and be happy and move on than to fight each other. This has been pushed too far and I do not condone doxing or harassment. I am sorry for that. My community outside of X, which many creators know, are so loved and welcoming, and I hope you see that if you continue to stay. I am sorry for the distress I caused emotionally to so many of you and the trouble this caused for others outside. I have already made a statement days ago after my heated moment that is for you to find. I can give you only so much before I have nothing to give, and I hope you see what I have always presented to you all these years was who I am. I will be resuming stream tomorrow as I have a charity to resume for Make-A-Wish Jingle Jam, and that is much more important to me right now. Thank you for reading this. P.S. Military outfits are fucking awesome, and thank you to the real ones for your services. Also, because I don't want to reset everything, even with some references, the main references was always a callback to my original 2019 design. Last thread, and I will not be responding anymore as people have suggested. I just looked up military anime character and chose from the pool. There was no ill intention or deeper meaning. Once again, the main inspiration was the original outfit. And this, I feel, is what she should have done in the first place. I know Zentreya's been going through it recently, what with the tragic and traumatizing end of Shoujo, and various other happenings since that has led Zentreya to apologize here and there for the words she said on stream while supposedly inebriated. And Zentreya admits and acknowledges she is prone to emotional outbursts when she gets heated. While I can't necessarily fault her for it, I do hope she learns something from the situation. A large creator like her should know she's much too large to get cancelled. Look at the recent Cinder situation and how, even after millions saw videos painting Cinder as the worst person on earth, she still has a decent-sized audience to come back to. And in Zen's case, she hasn't done anything to warrant being cancelled. She's not a bigot, she's not a Nazi, she's not pro-fascist or pro-authoritarian, she doesn't backstab her friends, she is just simply Zentreya. Her career started in role-playing, and even then, there doesn't seem to be any history of controversy besides edgy anime outfits that can be mistaken, but they ultimately are not because they are still very different from the ones in actual history. It's one thing if you do not fancy military outfits as a whole, but that doesn't mean everyone who wears or has a military outfit design is inherently a bad person with ill intentions or secretly trying to dog whistle to others. It doesn't mean that at all unless you're assuming everyone has secret ill intent, which, for a more peaceful society, I hope people don't get that paranoid about things. If it's a repeating pattern of problematic behavior that gets brought up over and over and over again, then there is something there to look at and scrutinize. I've done that with a few creators here on my channel already, some of which tried to love bomb and soothe Zentreya in this entire debacle to try bring her to their side subtly. But I trust that Zentreya will stay true to her apolitical nature, and I just hope that, at the very least, she is more mindful of certain terms going forward. Also, if you're aware of Nazi VTubers in the community, maybe you should get them blocked. I don't know, but you know, just me. As far as I'm concerned though, I do not foresee Zentreya to be in any more hot water for a while, and I hope it stays that way. If you can, go support her and her ongoing charity event. So, that's the conclusion of the Zentreya outfit drama that occurred in the VTuber scene. What is your opinion of it all? There's obviously a lot more to this than just what I shared, such as how a few people posted about we should do more military outfits and KVX art making a peaked cap asset deliberately, both of which are subtle nods to owning the woke left, as these people often share unsavory viewpoints on, say, trans people. But, you know, if I covered literally everything with every drama, the video would be infinitely long because there truly is too many bad actors in the scene. But for the main VTuber in question here, I think Zentreya genuinely needs a break. But she's working her ass off regardless, so I just hope she can relax. And also, hopefully, not take this video way out of context just from the thumbnail and title alone. I'm like pretty sure no one in this YouTuber scene who shares some of my viewpoints are gonna cover this at all out of fear of being blocked, but you know, I already am, so I got nothing else to lose. Especially since I pretty much covered it as fairly as I could anyway. But at this point, I'm just yapping. I doubt I can make something before Christmas, so for now, happy holidays, everyone. Most likely I'll see you next year. Until then, keep it vibing. Bye! Oh, I just cracked my neck again. I'm too old.